We gotta just chill out, man.
Pittsburgh Steeler fans, well, welcome back to another episode of the Scho Bro Show. This is Steel Curd Network's Dave Schofield coming at you Tuesday night. Hey, it's before 10 after 9, so we did all right. Where else would you rather be, Steelers fans? And with me as always, except when he's not, is my big brother Rich. Big Bro Scho, how you doing today?
Doing all right today, even though there's no football.
Yeah.
Football is over.
Football is over, yes. I mean, I almost did a title of the show of, hey, the offseason has officially begun. But I'm like, that's kind of a broad topic where you could go in any direction. But it's true. Now you can be in full offseason mode. I mean, obviously the Steelers have been in offseason mode. It's been an offseason like no other that we've experienced in almost 20 years. But it's different when everybody is now in offseason mode. Yeah, there's one team waiting to have a parade, but everybody's in offseason mode now.
Boo.
Are you in off-season mode? Okay. Well, you don't even have to think about, oh, man, if the Steelers would have just blah, 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 they could still be playing right now. You can't say that anymore because nobody's playing. No one's left to be playing.
No, but to me, I give it boo because it's like we sit around, wait, and it seems every year you get here and the season goes so fast.
Yeah.
But
as I do, and I'm actually going to dive more into this topic on Thursday with Greg for Pittsburgh Standard Time. What do I say annual? I think there was one year I forgot to do it, so it was a day late. Article that I do the day after the Super Bowl. I start it there, and then I bring it back every few weeks to update it. It's my counting down the days to key off season dates with everything, and it runs all the way up until the next Super Bowl that I have, which the Super Bowl is actually the start of the season is bumped back a week because, you know, it was like September 1st, Labor Day this past year, or September. It was early.
Yeah.
And now this year, Labor Day's bumped back a week because of the cycle through the calendar, like we get on Thanksgiving and various things that are certain days of the week and whatnot. So the NFL season's actually bumped back a week, which means the Super Bowl is instead of being a day, generally a date earlier, instead of being the 8th, you would think it's the 7th. Nope, it's the 14th. It's so we're not even a year to next Super Bowl right now, if you think about that. But make your reservations now, Steelers fans. Get ready for it.
That's right.
What I couldn't believe is, do you realize that in 1 month from now, you and I will be talking about, did the Steelers do anything during the first more than 24 hours of the legal tampering period? 1 month from now, 4 weeks from now. It's crazy that it's that soon.
Yeah, crazy, but we'll see how fast the 4 weeks go.
Well, but I mean,
that's the problem at this time of year, man. It just drags.
Not that I watch it, but I at least pay attention a little bit because I got people that can dissect it much better than I can to know if things are going good or bad. You've got the combine partway between that.
Right.
So it's like not even the next thing. So I think it's pretty interesting how we're rolling along. Hey, do you want to say anything about the game? So many people are like, oh, I was making fun of people in the Slack channel about, following the blueprint for the Super Bowl. I'm like, blueprints for the Super Bowl are stupid. You know why? Because if you look back, every year everyone thinks that they haven't figured out what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And then even the same freaking team can win it 2 years in a row and do it in two completely different ways. So...
let's see. I will sum up the Super Bowl in this way.
Mm-hmm.
I summarized it this way to my wife the next morning because she went to bed at halftime.
Okay.
And I said, "Yep." I said, "See, it wasn't much of a Super Bowl. said, see how the score wasn't even close? She was like,
Yeah.
yeah. I said, well, the game wasn't even as close as that score indicates.
And boy, oh boy, did Collinsworth really try to bring it back to make it seem, oh, look, we're starting to see that momentum shift towards New England. And I'm like, boy, you're really trying to sell the audience on something that's really not happening. It really was. I mean, another touchdown was called back. I mean, it was a hold at the point of attack, so I don't mind them calling that one back. But that's the thing. Let's see, who was it that said it was boring? Afton said it was boring. Some people are like, oh, it was a bad game. I don't think it was a bad game. It's just, if you're someone who follows the NFL, it's a style of game that's not terrible. I mean, honestly, if that was the Steelers winning a game in that style of game, it kind of feels like how the Steelers won games all season a lot of the times in that style of game that you're just like, okay, can they keep hold them down enough and blah, blah, blah. Oh, can they get the turnover at the right spot and everything else? So to me, I think what you said was the most correct. Is the reason it wasn't overly exciting is it just wasn't really that close. Was it what, 9? Was it 9-0 at halftime?
9-0 at halftime.
I mean, when it went to 12-0, you figured it was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really about all. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about the game.
I don't either.
To me, we talked more about how it ended the season, and it really was. But I will tell you this: if you want to take anything away from the Super Bowl, it kind of comes back to what I was talking about before the game was played, in my unpopular opinion. It goes to show any two teams can make it. Neither one of those teams even made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
And they played in the Super Bowl. You had one team that only won 4 games and was picking towards the top of the draft, and you had another team that won 10 games but was the only double-digit win team that didn't make the postseason last year. So it just goes to show some various things. And you can try to dissect it a ton and figure out what the Steelers can do, but it doesn't mean that the exact same plan, even by the exact same team with the exact same players, would even work next year. It's just not. As the scientific-minded person, and you as also as a mathematically minded person, what are the odds of trying to do the exact same thing and win the Super Bowl in the exact same way the next year?
Yeah, it's almost none.
Almost none.
Yeah. That's very, very unlikely.
Because there's just so many other variables. So
yep.
Let's.
I will say one more thing about this game, because it was one thing I actually pointed out to Kyle, and that was it was interesting to see the Seattle front four putting a hurt on the offensive line of the Patriots, kind of the same way the Steelers did.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know there's all this stuff going on about, what was it, the 3rd or 4th overall pick that the Patriots had last year and got the offensive tackle, and then he had a really, really, really bad game. Rookies have bad games, especially when it's their 20th one of the season. It happens. Or was it their 21st? I'm trying to think. Yeah, it would be their 21st even, because they played the first weekend. Yeah. Anyway, that's. So that's beside the point. So it just, there was I'll say it one last time. Who would have thought in September, before the Steelers even went to Ireland, that you could say, hey, they just played the 2 teams that are going to the Super Bowl in back-to-back weeks.
Yeah. Exactly.
There's no way we thought that at the time. We both, I'm trying to remember. I know I picked the Steelers to beat the Seahawks, and they very well could have if it wasn't for that big Caleb Johnson debacle.
Yep. And
I don't think I picked them to beat the Patriots. I know I didn't before the season started. I picked that to be one of those letdown games that they would go, and I picked them to lose in week 3 so they would win in week 4. But hey, they did the week 3, week 4 thing for the first time in forever. But that leads kind of into our topic, and that is trends that we've seen with the Steelers. How many of those can you bank on now? Like I talked about the Steelers finally broke that under Mike Tomlin that they actually won in both week 3 and week 4. Week 4 was that time of the year that was kind of lulling to sleep, let down, especially coming off of a win. Is that going to be the same with a new head coach? That one's probably not. So that's why we're asking, will the Steelers' way look different? Because we talk about the Steelers' way of doing things, or even how things kind of turn out for them and everything else. So to dive into that, there's various different ways that we could look at the Steelers' way of doing things, and will it be different? To give an idea of what I'm talking about is, even though he was employed by the Steelers for many, many years, when Omar Khan took over as general manager, you could notice a difference, couldn't you?
Yes.
What's one of the biggest differences that you noticed in Omar Khan in his time, in his few seasons as general manager, compared to that of Kevin Colbert? I'm letting you go first because I have several.
Willingness to make trades.
Willingness to make trades. Okay, that's a good one. Yeah. Whether it be off season or during the season.
Correct.
Yeah. Mine was when you were willing to do contracts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, look, you had to make Cam and TJ and all those guys wait until September to do their deals under Colbert, but under Khan, they were done June, May, June, or July. I mean, before training camp. That was a huge difference in my eyes.
Yeah, when he got the contract,
Mm-hmm.
I think talks happened under Khan a little more often, and when everybody was happy, no reason to draw it out any further. You're happy, we're happy, done.
Yeah.
Less drama.
Yeah.
Less drama.
I used to be able to report on a contract as soon as I got total numbers. I knew the exact breakdown because the Steelers always did the breakdown the same way. That first year, you knew that player was going to have the league minimum salary and everything else was going to be a signing bonus. That wasn't necessarily the case when Colin took over. Minkah Fitzpatrick's deal. They could have made his first year, they could have lowered his cap hit that first year even more there was money that they gave him in base salary that could have been in a signing bonus. It used, you could figure out a formula. It was like, okay, how many years experience they have? Boom, that many. Oh, that's what their minimum salary is. That's what they're getting this year. Everything else for year one, that's a signing bonus. Now it's not there. You can estimate it, but now it's not. And there's times they do that for sure, but not all the time, especially with the bigger deals.
Yeah.
So anything else? I mean, that I might have missed there. Those were the main three I was.
Those were the main few that that you noticed right off the bat.
Yeah. So even though it was the same head coach and the same team president / owner, when you had a new general manager, there was some things that were different. Now you've got the same general manager for the last several years, obviously still the same team president and owner, but a new head coach. Let's look at a few of these things and say, hey, is this going to be different this year? I think the one that's as an obvious yes to start off with.
Go ahead.
Is retaining players that are about ready to hit free agency and or releasing players for cap casualty and whatnot.
Okay.
You pretty much had a good idea of what the Steelers were going to do a lot of times.
Yeah.
You don't this time. They might do it the same way, but you can't bank on it, can you?
No, everything is an unknown because that stuff, since Omar Khan has been the GM, that stuff has been worked in a way that has worked for both the front office and the coach and the coaching staff. Well, now that you got a new coaching staff, they've got to figure out do they want to use the same formula, or do they want a different one?
Yeah. And I mean, there's some players. I'm probably going to be doing an article here soon about players that the Steelers could save a lot of cap space on if they moved on from them this offseason. I don't know what they're thinking. I really don't. You know, a lot of people are like, now's a good time that the Steelers, they're probably, they're going to cut ties with Patrick Queen. You have no idea what the new coaching staff thinks of Patrick Queen.
Right.
For all you know, they're like, this is a guy that they weren't utilizing him right. If we do this with him, just imagine what he can do. We're not going to let him go for that price. Or they could be like, oh, man, that doesn't fit what we think is going to work with everybody else. And we're going to move on.
Yeah.
We don't know. We really have no idea.
No, because we don't know exactly what the offensive scheme is going to be, what the defensive scheme is going to be. We don't know what those things are.
Yeah.
So we have no clue at how the coaching staff is evaluating what was in the building this year.
Yeah. We know generally what those schemes are going to be, but we don't know what they're going to be specifically based on players and the type of players they want to do certain things. Like the Steelers are going to run a 3-4. They've already said they're going to do that. But, I mean, for example, I was listening to Coach KT Smith talking about this on the Here We Go, the Steelers show. What do they want for a nose tackle? Are they going to want to continue to play Keanu Benton there when it seems like that's square peg, round hole? Are they going to insist on that because that's what they believed? I mean, Omar Khan might have a little bit of say in some of that stuff. Is somebody like Y.A. Black, are they going to work on him to get his pad level down because he's more of the size that they want for someone to stuff the middle?
Maybe.
Do they want a smaller, more athletic nose tackle rather than just someone that takes up two gaps just by being there, a la Big Snack?
Right. Right. It's just a lot of we don't know yet. And that's what's going to make this offseason very interesting because we're going to watch the moves, we're going to watch the things that are done or players that are kept, players that are let go, whatever, and you're going to be like, oh, maybe they're thinking this. Like, those are going to be the things that get us guessing as to what things may look like overall. And even then, we still probably aren't going to get it right. But we might get it close.
Which rolls right into the next one I was going to bring up, free agency. Outside people coming in.
Yeah.
You know how the Steelers typically did stuff. You knew how they typically structured contracts. I don't think they're going to go crazy doing stuff different. I don't think they're going to start adding a bunch of void years because there's a new head coach. I don't think that's how they're going to do their contracts. But when you look at who they might be looking to add, are they looking to add more of a splash player? I mean, think about it. Who's some of the biggest splash free agent signings the Steelers have made? I mean, Patrick Queen was a bit splashy. They've had a number that didn't work, like Darius Slay and Patrick Peterson. Those were big names, but hey, the Steelers were looking. It seemed like they were ready to add over the hills secondary guys. Maybe they're get away from that now. Are they going to pony up some money and go get one big fish? Are they going to be the team that when the legal tampering period starts at noon, you're going to hear that they already have a deal in place at 12:15? Because it's usually you're waiting for the Steelers. Yeah, they'll sign a punter, and then you wait 2 days. I mean, that was what was so uncharacteristic.
Yeah, we got nothing on day one last year, did we?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Day two before we started to hear anything.
Yeah.
Maybe that might change. And if it changes, if that changes, I would imagine that's going to have a lot to do with Coach McCarthy just saying, hey,
I want that guy.
I want that. Basically saying, I won't be surprised if he comes in and says, I don't care what else we do in free agency. I want that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which then Khan has to sit down and crunch the numbers and see if they can make it work.
Yeah. Could it look exactly the same? It
could.
But we don't know. We don't know. That's really interesting. And I got to thinking about this more and more when I was doing the countdown article to the various days. Before I get to the next one, that a couple of things I'm going to bring up. We don't know about the draft. We really don't know what the coaching staff might want. But do you think at least this year they're going to lean more on the people that have been evaluating the talent throughout the college season and everything, and maybe lean a little bit? If this one might be a little bit more of a hybrid of what we would have expected under Coach Tomlin versus what we would expect under Coach McCarthy, because they probably still have so many things in place for it.
Yeah, and I mean, Coach McCarthy and his staff, they're already in there working their butts off trying to evaluate potential guys. And
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised, like, if you see more Steeler representation at the combine. If they have a lot of people there just to be looking, they may have somebody in the scouting department. They say, hey, look, you used to don't go to the combine. We're sending you to the combine. We want you to get to know or look at these couple guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me either, because the Steelers might have to throw a lot into the draft. Because you got a new coaching staff, and as Steeler Chick 46 points out, we have 12 draft picks.
Yep, there it is. We have 12 draft picks. So, and it's so funny because...
So that brings up something else. The things change. Mm-hmm. Is this a year we see maybe a trade up somewhere because we've got extra draft picks?
Yeah.
Maybe.
You could see something more splashy than you've ever seen from the Steelers. Or is this the first time since 2001 where they trade down?
I mean,
meaning in the first round. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to do that with that many picks. I don't think the last thing they need to do now is be acquiring, unless they're getting capital for the next year. I really don't know. But that's one that I think will be interesting. It's going to be harder to predict what the Steelers are going to do in the draft because it's a new coach. I'll tell you this. Some people might complain about it because I tried to point it out last year, and some people just don't see it. Why are they drafting defense high when they already have the highest paid defense? Do you want to know why they have the highest paid defense?
Because they got a bunch of old guys.
Because they've paid them as free agents as old guys, and they aren't drafting young guys. They still need to draft a lot on defense. You want to balance that? I mean, if the Steelers really want to, if you want to see the Steelers way look different this year, watch them sign 2 splashy free agents on the offensive side of the ball, not do anything defensively, and build it through the draft.
Yeah.
That would be the opposite of what you've seen from the Steelers for a long time.
Yeah, would be.
Yeah.
Will we see that? Not sure.
I don't know. Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Like, what'll be fun moving forward here, Dave, will be then this whole idea of we say, hey, will it look different? Like right now we can sit here and say, yes, it's going to look different. It's got to look different because of some of the change.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not even sure exactly how it's going to look different.
Yeah.
We're not,
exactly.
We're going to spend more time going back and saying, well, that was different. To which then we'll say, well, we knew there was going to be some change.
Yeah, it's funny. Steeler Chick 46 says, when's the last time we had this many picks? Well, I'll tell you. You want to know the last time we made this many picks?
It's probably when the draft had tons of rounds.
I mean, I'll tell you this: in 2021 and in 2019, the Steelers had bigger draft classes. They had 9. That wasn't even double-digit numbers. Okay, I'm right now looking at it, and I'm scrolling back, and I'm scrolling back, and I'm scrolling back, and I mean, there. What was this? 99, 2, 4, 6, 8. You had 11 in 1999.
How many rounds were there in 1999?
That was 7. That was still 7.
Still 7 rounds? Okay.
Yeah. So that one's close. Hold on. Where's this one? 2, 4, 6, 8. That was 10. You drafted 10 in 1995. And 10 in 94. And 10 in 93. Oh, here we go. This has got to be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 picks in 1992. I don't know how many rounds it was, but they did make a selection of the 12th round. So that tells you something right there. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while. But I also want to turn around and right before we go to break is say, not long after the draft, obviously then the Steelers signed undrafted free agents, things of that nature. I was looking at the calendar and I'm like, okay, rookie minicamp. Steelers always do it on the second weekend. Can't really guarantee that, can we?
No.
What if Coach McCarthy's like, no, I want to get these guys in there as soon as we can. We want to do the first weekend. Are they going to schedule OTAs the same?
Oh, by the way, Dave, that 92 draft was 12 rounds.
It was 12. I know it was at least 12 rounds because they had picks through round 12. So, yeah. I'm looking at these various things. I'm like, okay, when do the Steelers normally report to training camp? How's training camp going to look? I assume they're going back because that's something Art Reed II wants to do. How's that going to look? I mean, I've been saving it for a long time. I almost started so I wouldn't forget it. Okay. Brent Howell said 7 shots.
Yeah. Well,
can we even bank on, the Steelers are going to keep this kind of, I mean, some of the schedule for training camp is based on the league calendar. And of course the CBA rules. Like you can't have 3 padded practices in a row and things of that nature. So there's things like that that are going to that you can't change too much. If the Steelers going to have are they going to have as much hitting and physicality at training camp, which a lot of people say the Steelers have more than any other team in the NFL during training camp, or is it going to look completely different? What time of day are they going to practice? Those kind of things.
You're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice, but I mean, you've gone to training camp before. I know people that go to training camp. You can't bank on everything before. I mean, last year they went back to afternoon practices because Mike Tomlin doesn't see comfort, and therefore they wanted to get more practice in the heat of the day. I mean, my goodness, who knows? They might change it up like crazy. They might change it on the fly much more. Like they would stay pretty scheduled and everything. It might be one of those things not based on weather. But Coach McCarthy's like, okay, we want a 10 a.m. practice today. Oh, tomorrow, let's go 1:30. Let's go back to 10 a.m. Well, let's go in the evening. Let's go 5:30. You know, for all you know, they could change it up like crazy. Or not. It could just be the exact same thing. Brent Howe asked this one. Friday Night Lights, you got to think they're going to do that because that's just something that's some traditions I think aren't going to go away. I think that's one of those that they're going to do.
Yep.
So, yeah. Because Thomas JP wanted to know, can he do rookie minicamp during the week or is it required to be a weekend only? It is weekend only. There are 2 specific dates you can run your rookie minicamp. The Steelers have always done it the second one. Sometimes you can think about that. You could lose out on players because they went to someone else's rookie minicamp the first week and signed there.
Yeah.
Or maybe you can pick up more players that went to someone else's rookie minicamp and didn't sign and you want to look at them. Do you want somebody else's leftovers or do you want to get the first shot at them? There's different things that they could do there. So, hey, we're going to go ahead and take a break. I got a couple more things I'm going to ask you about this with the Steelers way, how it could look different, which actually gets into the actual season. And then, of course, we'll have our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk and our big question at the end. So if you're with us here live, we're not going anywhere. If you're with us here on the audio side, stick around. We'll be right back after this. Hey, I do want to say one thing as we relax and don't worry, is that just because some of these things are different doesn't make it bad and it doesn't make it good. It's just different. The verdict will be out on whether it's good or bad over time, right?
That's right. That's correct.
So if the Steelers, maybe they cut practices short sometimes at training camp. Maybe their players are required to sign more autographs. Maybe their players are required to run into meetings and can't hang around and sign more autographs. Who knows? There's those kind of things. I've never been to training camp, so I don't know. Here's one that I want to bring up as kind of one last thing to think about. One thing that I've talked about and banked on with the Pittsburgh Steelers under Mike Tomlin is how they handled their rookies. That's why I could say with a lot of confidence when I heard people saying, "Oh, Caleb Johnson, it's not about when he takes over as the number one. The question is if he's going to be the number one by week one." And I'm like, "You're crazy." I try to tell people they're crazy. Jeremy Betts and I then had a side conversation about that. He's like, "You know what? I'm starting to think you might be right." Leading up to week one, I'm like, where I said I thought he'd get less than 5 touches because the Steelers, Mike Tomlin has constantly babied his rookies because you don't want him to hit that wall with everything else. I don't think we can bank on that. You might see draft picks out there for the first snap of the first game.
Maybe.
It could even be worse.
Correct.
Yeah, it could be even worse where they really won't see the field at all. We don't know.
I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because I was paying close attention for a while, and now I've gotten off of it. But it fits into this whole thing. At least it had seemed to me for a while we were filling out the coaching staff. Do we have more coaches than we usually do?
That's a great question. And the reason that's a great question is because the Steelers still have a number of them they haven't announced.
Correct.
So you're going to get a Dave answer.
Right. Which is
if everything
goes as to what's being reported,
yes,
then it's a change.
I mean, there was 2 different college guys that have been reported that they are joining the Steelers staff as the outside linebackers coach. That was about a week ago, and neither one of them has been announced yet.
Right.
Could they both be joining the staff? They could. Could neither of them join the staff? They haven't announced it yet. So, yeah, sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes if you listen to some of our podcasts later because you don't catch them originally, it's really funny. Like I've already listened to this past week's Here We Go, the Steelers show, but I didn't catch the one the week before until the weekend. And to hear Brian talk about it's 99.9 that Scott Tolzien is the Steelers offensive coordinator. That was really funny to listen to that podcast.
Yeah.
Sometimes because it's out on Friday afternoons, I don't catch Black and Gold Blueprint with Roy and Rob until after the games when it's during the season. And it would be really funny to listen to their takes about stuff after the game was played and what they'd said before. So that's interesting. But the coaching one with Bad is the one that reminded me of, sometimes it seems like things are a done deal and then they're not. So I would say their coaching staff is going to be slightly bigger. I'm going to ask you this question before we go with our 5 Steelers. Well, we'll before we finish up the topic then and go to our 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk. And it was a discussion or something I brought up in the comments of an article when about assistant coaches signing and everything, and they're like, "Oh, bigger staff." This just goes to show that it was Mike Tomlin holding back the size of the coaching staff.
Wrong.
Well, I said counterpoint. This just goes to show that because Mike Tomlin had such a large salary that they weren't willing to take how much salary was given to Mike Tomlin and make that they didn't keep his salary separate from what they paid overall for coaches, and therefore that cut into what he had to spend on assistant coaches. That's a possibility. And what my argument was, if you're someone who would like to be critical of Mike Tomlin, you're going to say the first one. And if you're someone like me that is more critical of Art Rooney the second, you're going to say it's the second.
And there's a third way to look at it.
Third way. Give it to me.
Okay. So with the hiring of Mike McCarthy, did he negotiate for it?
Or, here's a fourth one.
Yep. I know where you're going
with Mike McCarthy. Did other candidates get ruled out because they were asking for more money and a larger coaching staff? That's already been reported.
Yeah.
That was an issue with some of mainly the Rams guys is what I heard. That I don't know if that's really true. That's probably people's opinions that then get passed to somebody else and passed to somebody else. And then it's, people think it's a fact. So, but that's that they had a different vision of how you fill out a coaching staff than what the Steelers were willing to do. There's several different ways to look at that one. So, hey, anything else you want to say here about looking at things that could be different that we take for granted the Steelers' way of doing things? Okay. Someone had mentioned, the Monday Night Football streak is over anyway, and it's not. The regular season Monday Night Football streak is still intact, and most streaks are regular season, so that one's going to get ignored probably. Just like, honestly, it has to be Monday Night Football. You can't say games on a Monday because the Steelers lost a game on a Monday at home to Washington in 2020, but the kickoff was at 5:30, therefore it wasn't Monday Night Football, so it doesn't count. Because you can make the streaks, you can set parameters to make them say anything you want. Starting slow, finishing strong. Week 4 sucks. These are all things that so many trends. As somebody who likes to look at the numerical trends, they're out the window now.
Yeah, it's just. It's new territory. It's been
new territory.
Almost 20 years since we done this.
Yep. So, yeah. All right. You ready for
back when I had way less gray hair?
Yeah, way less gray hair. Back when I had way more hair.
That's right.
Yeah. So, you ready for this? You ready for the 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk?
Yeah. Back when we would have been like, podcast? What's a podcast?
What's a podcast? That's a weird word.
All right, 5 minutes of non-Steelers talk.
This is my week. This is going to be semi-Super Bowl related. It's inspired by something from kind of the Super Bowl. I had friends over actually on Saturday, and I decided so many times I missed the beginning of the Super Bowl because I'm still cooking my Super Bowl food, trying to get everything ready and blah, blah, blah. I wasn't having anyone over. One of my kids wasn't even here for it. And I just like, you know what? We have company coming Saturday. I'm doing my Super Bowl food then. I talked about that on the preview. So I did that Saturday. Saturday night, oh my goodness. I was so miserable and uncomfortable. The question is this. This is old man. This is definitely an old man topic. What foods do you love to eat, but man, you pay for it later? And just you just can't take it. Okay, because so to set it up while you're thinking,
Okay.
I'll say this. Like, here are the foods that I had for my Super Bowl party 24 hours early. I had buffalo wing dip with Frito scoops. That's always great. I had popcorn shrimp. I had clam strips. I had pizza bites. Not pepperoni rolls, just the pizza bites. I had mozzarella sticks. I had Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets. I had one other thing there I know, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. But I ate all that food, but at the end of the evening, I was just so miserable and uncomfortable. For example, like CO Chick 46 says pizza because I'm diabetic. Okay. Have anything come to mind of a food that you love to eat it, but you paid the price for it?
You know what? For the first thing comes to my mind is I have issue with onion rings. I love onion rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And I love onion rings, but even just onion in general.
Yeah.
If I eat much onion, I belching and tasting onion for 2 days.
Yeah. See, I'm going to say something that's somewhat close. Okay. Somewhat close because it's the oniony part of it. Used to be one of my favorite things to eat when I was younger. Got to go down to Long John Silver's and eat their hush puppies.
Yeah.
I love Long John Silver's hush puppies. I have not eaten them, even though I've had Long John Silver's more recently. I've not had the hush puppies in years.
What do you go there for? The fish?
No, I don't even eat fish. I go for the chicken. Okay. I mean, I love them, but if I even have one, it's not good. It's just not good. It's funny because Afton says I miss onion rings and bloomin' onions. Yeah. Okay. Outside Steelers fan says Pringles. So that's one with me. Is there something that bothers you, but you eat it anyway?
You know, there was a point in time. There was a point in time where that I don't have this issue anymore. But there was a point in time where if I ate too hot of wings or too spicy of barbecue or whatever like that, I would. This was before I got on my BiPAP machine. I would get heartburn so bad at night that I would all but, I would get reflux so bad that I would wake up choking and take me 10 minutes to get calmed down from choking on that. But luckily for me but those were the things that triggered it.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the other thing that I do struggle with at times, so I have to be careful about how much I eat, is pepperoni.
See, I was going to say, I thought like the last time I had I had such a bad bout of acid reflux. It was up into my sinuses. It burned for 12 hours. Woke me up. It was really bad. And I talked to you about it. And it was after having, believe it or not, Little Caesars pizza. And I thought, that's the pepperoni. And then you pointed out to me, it's like, you know what? It might be their sauce.
Their sauce has a lot of black pepper in it.
Exactly. Do you know what we do?
I love it.
You know what we do now?
What's that?
You can get it with light sauce. And ever since then, it's not like I have it all the time, but ever since then, getting the light sauce, never had a problem with it again. So it was this. You were spot on. Here's one that
I used, like I was saying, you were asking foods that I had issues with, and I used to have issues with a lot more. But as soon as I got my sleep apnea under control, I lost those. Those issues. I do have to watch the stuff with pepperoni, and it's not even like pepperoni. Your pepperoni rolls, they never bother me, really, Dave. But a lot of times on pizza, like anymore, I get pizza. I don't get pepperoni pizza anymore if I get a choice. I get
Oh,
bacon.
I love pepperoni on pizza. Oh, bacon. Yeah, the bacon.
Well,
Yeah.
bacon goes with anything.
Bacon.
So, you know.
Yeah, as long as it's not just, I mean, I could do just cheese pizza. It's just not the same. It's funny because John S. says the local Chinese food, love it, but feel like I need to run 5 miles to not feel gross. I know exactly what you mean. Same kind of deal. Here's one for me that I know it went off, but I have to say this because Bad still owes me. If I do too much movie theater popcorn, I'm hurting. You know, just stomach pain, heartburn, things like that if I just do too much. So, but that's one but you can't go to the movie theater not eat too much popcorn when they have free refills. So, you know what? I do it anyway, and I suffer through that one. So, it's just the way it works. So, all right, I just thought in honor of, last week we were asked about Super Bowl foods. This is my way of bringing that in there. So on the Super Bowl, I ate leftovers, but you know what I did? I didn't have a bunch of it where I kept going back. And I drank a lot while I was eating rather than afterwards, because that's what gets me a lot too. When you eat a bunch of fried food or even shrimp and you didn't drink very much, and then you get really thirsty. So you start to drink water and it just expands in your stomach and you just feel miserable. So there we go. There was our non-Steelers talk about, like I said, old man topic. So, you ready for a big question?
Question away.
Okay, so for those of you that are here in the live chat, I know it might not be as much now in the off season, but the way this works, I'll ask Rich the question, he'll answer, I'll answer. Don't put your answer out there yet in the live chat because I'll type it up and ask for it. Once I do and set you loose, you put yours in there. We'll bring up every one of them and read them. Asking not to do an explanation because then that would just take so long. We're just going to read it. Here's my question this time for you, bro. Based on tonight's topic of how the Steelers way would look different, we mentioned a number of things. We mentioned, keeping or cutting players. We could talk about re-signing players. Didn't even mention restructuring contracts if they would continue to do that. I think that one's one that's more Marcano will say the same. The way they work training camp. Here's another one I meant to bring up and completely forgot. How players, whether or not they play in the preseason, some of those things that's going to be different because of a different coach. What do you, if you had to guess right now, what do you think? And I'm not talking, don't tell me wins or stuff like that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about procedural things. Where do you think you'll see the biggest difference from how things used to be with this year?
This is just me and my gut feeling based on the change of coach. I think we're going to see I'm going to call it at least a slightly different, because you still do have Omar Khan, Andy Weidel in place, but I think you're going to see a slight difference in how the Steelers draft. I think the draft is going to be a very, very different looking process for the Steelers.
Okay, you'll take that one. Oh, it's funny because, like I said, we could talk about preseason. We could talk about playing rookies. I think the safest bet for me is I think you might see, especially offensively, some bigger free agent contracts than you've ever seen from the Steelers, simply because new coach is going to want to get some people in there to do what he wants to do. So that's what I'm going to say. So you all tell us, what do you think will be the biggest difference with the new head coach? Something the way the Steelers have always done it that's now might look different. Okay. That's still talking about our 5. I hope that was a pretty good. Okay. Here you go. Mad Cat is already in there. First one. Rookies will play. I think that's a good one. I'm just not ready to bank on it yet. Okay. Okay. Steeler Chick 46, same one. Rookies will play more. Okay. Matthew Bunk, this isn't exactly what we're looking for, but I'll bring it up.
But it is.
He says play calling by the new head coach. I was even going to say you could talk about philosophy of, I don't think you're going to see a team that's going to try to sit on a lead. with an offensive-minded coach. I don't think they're going to just sit back and sit on the lead. I don't. So here you go. Tom Dessenberger. Team meetings. We have no idea to know that, but you're right. I mean, the way the players were with Coach Tomlin, it's probably going to be very, very different. Okay. Outside Steeler fan says offensive adjustments in game. Okay. This is interesting because this one actually kind of makes me sad. Thomas JP says no Tomlinisms. To me, that's a bad. I'm not looking forward. I mean, I looked forward to covering press conferences. I'm not thinking they're going to be as exciting. The opening one definitely wasn't for me. So yeah. David Poe says throwing over the middle. In other words, being more concerned with turning the ball over than offensive production is probably another way to sum that up. Yeah. Therefore, that's why you throw over the middle. Okay. I don't know if this answers the question or not, but I'm going to bring it up. Brent Howell says GM has the real power. He says is that what we're going to learn? I mean, we might learn that. That's true. Okay. John Walter says no more sunglasses at night. And Reginald Rivers says balance. I'm assuming he means offensive and defensive balance. Maybe ability, maybe spending, maybe run versus pass, just maybe balance. Outside Steeler fan says that McCarthy will be nicer to the press. Let's just say this. If some of the same annoying people were just as annoying to McCarthy, it'll take him a while, but he'll eventually get frustrated with them too.
Yeah, and instead of giving the Mike Tomlin, what I want to say, a lot of words without saying a whole lot of anything. Yeah, I have a feeling that you'll just when they push McCarthy, just worried over who it be, he'll be a little snappier. I mean, he'll be your granddad growling at you kind of thing.
Yeah, he's an older man to shout at the clouds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, John, I'm not bringing that up, but I know but you're exactly right. So yeah, I think that's all that we got there.
Yep.
Okay. No, here we go. We'll bring up this one. This just popped up. John Waters said on a more serious note, different approach to the staff. Meaning in their responsibilities and what they can do, maybe. If that's what he meant there. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I get where what he's going for there, and is overall it's probably just going to be different in how the staff is handled, just because it's going to be a different staff.
Yeah. I didn't care enough about Mike McCarthy when he was in Dallas or Green Bay to note this. Now I'd love to know the answer. How much does he meddle with the defense? Being an offensive coach. I would assume not much if you're calling plays, because you're not even going to be able to talk to those guys during the game.
Right.
Because you're going to be busy doing your thing.
Right. When they're over on the bench, you're not going to be rallying them and trying to talk to them, but figure stuff out, because you're going to be calling plays.
So that's definitely a different approach, because you have to admit that even though it was Mike Tomlin's fingerprints were all over that defense, there were certain trends that you could see were happening, because it kind of had a feeling that was Mike Tomlin's overall philosophy.
Yeah.
On how to do stuff. So that'll be interesting. Matthew Bunk also says different practice time, and I don't know what he meant to say there. With everything with training camp.
I think it was to say training camp, but somehow got auto.
Yeah, it got printing. Yes, it got autocorrect. So hey, make sure you check out all our podcasts. We'll be bringing them to you. And hey, I can tell you right now, Steel City Insider is back to being on Wednesday this week. It will be at 11 a.m. Eastern. The audio will be available for you there on our podcast channel, anywhere you get podcasts. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm an Apple Podcast guy. That's just what I have. So we should have a pretty normal schedule. I think Brian hasn't told me. I keep forgetting to ask him when he's going to normally do Q&A. If it's going to be Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember what we decided. So I can't tell you now Hopefully, maybe Bat will say something about it on Thursday. But we'll have our whole regular lineup coming up to you. Hey, off season, it doesn't matter. You're still getting 3 shows a day during the week and at least 2, if not 3, on weekends. And of course, the place you can't go wrong is steelcurtainnetwork.com. We're continuing to get you all kinds of great stuff. It's interesting. Scott Pavel has joined staff with doing articles there. Back at our old stomping grounds, he was there and he was known as Drop the Hammer. That was his name there back in the BTSC days when that was the website. He is now back with us and giving us all kinds of great content. Before he used to just do like one super huge article about everything draft wise. We're like, no, let's break it up. Give the people more. You don't need to read a novel for one article. We can, it's then hard to go back and find what you want to do. So that's what he's doing there, doing a great job with those. Of course, all the great stuff from KT Smith. Today, Tuesday, my exit interview article started where I go through and outline 2 players every day, like kind of doing an exit interview to talk about, the season they had and how things are going forward. So make sure you're checking out steelcurtainnetwork.com. Rich, what do you have to close us out here tonight?
Well, I got to say this. I will not be sitting on my couch and watching football this weekend. So I guess instead, I'll just have to go do some ice fishing. Not having football in some ways makes me a little sad, but we move forward. And we're going to continue to move forward with whatever is going on with the Steelers as we make our way through this offseason. As we talked about here tonight, there are going to be things that look different. We sat here and talked about some things we thought might look different, and they might look exactly the same, and something we didn't even talk about totally changes. Mm-hmm. But the only way we're going to find those things out is to work our way through that offseason. And to those of you that are sitting here live in our live chat tonight or listen to us in podcast form, we hope that you're here with us every week to catch up on those things. Because, Dave and I are coming back next Tuesday night. Can't wait.
All right.